exactly do you rate Assassin's Creed Unity? Well, you can't exactly put it at the very top of the list, but you can't put it at the bottom either. So I would rate it, toward the top half, but not, the best Assassin's Creed game out there. If you look more closely at this cover, you'll notice there is a guillotine in the background right there. What that means is this takes place during the French Revolution. And when you see, stuff being thrown out and burned. Now, a large majority of the action takes place in Paris. And it's recreated to the Paris of, the early 1800s, late 1790s. Pretty decent size, and there's a lot of stuff you can do throughout Paris. So let's take a look at some of the pros and cons of this game. First, let's take a look at some of the cons. If you'll notice in the background here, a lot of these objects you see, you can't move. You can't move the objects. You can't make the objects move around. So that's a con. They could have done more with that. Now, you can move objects people are holding. Like, you see this thing that's on fire right here? If we go up and run up into them, we can actually knock that over. And there we go there. It's knocked over. So, you can't move stuff. But you do have the good old-fashioned Assassin's Creed moves, like the double attack right there. Here's another example. There's some buckets right here. Or barrels. You can't move the barrels. So if you happen to work for Ubisoft, I would highly recommend you take a look at what some of your top competition does with their engines and stuff in terms of moving objects around and incorporate that into the game. But don't take out, the Assassin's Creed stuff that you have in your game, because that's a good part of your brand. Now, one of the things I would really like about this game, if you look at the background, they've got a beautiful architecture, beautiful gardens and stuff. They basically recreated France, in the late 1790s. And like I said, there is a lot of really nice architecture. And like I said, this game's got some really beautiful buildings and palaces, so to speak, here. Just look at this right here. This looks really, really nice. It's got the ancient architecture. Looks great from afar. It looks good from up close. Yeah, and the other thing that's really nice about this is you got really nice old buildings, which are in the background, and of course, because it's Assassin's Creed, we can pretty much scale most of this stuff, should we wish, and enjoy a, breathtaking view of these magnificent old buildings. So basically what I'm trying to say is this beautiful architecture, which you may or may not be able to tell from here, and these magnificent buildings are one of the things that really drew me in and got me to play this game instead of, put it on the shelf and maybe I'll touch it later. There's also, of course, a lot of underground French catacombs, which are kind of cool. What's also kind of cool is they have this database here, and if you go into it, you can see, there's an encyclopedia that shows, all the different people or characters they have, different locations, such as bridges, churches, districts, general stuff like, basic stuff in there, really old castles and so forth. Also, my favorite is the palaces. If you look at how beautiful some of these things are, and it gives a little bit of history on each one of them and tells you, what went place, what took place during there. It's kind of cool. And, of course, miscellaneous. They go through, events that took place during the French Revolution, so it can actually get you up to date in history, or maybe give you a little more information than you want, depending on if you want to read through that and stuff. And kind of talks about what led up to the French Revolution and so forth. And, and it actually has, newspapers from that time where they'll put, how small the stuff was. I guess what happened is people would, most people were illiterate, but some people would, take a newspaper and read it to others so that they can get conversed on events that happen and so forth. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to leave you with a quick run around. I'm going to speed it up and show you just how, give you an idea about the size of Paris, and that's where, probably 80 to 90% of the action in this game takes place.